if you can see my half-gone eyebrows from here. Not gonna lie, I was honestly kind of dreading the 4th episode of She-Hulk. A lot of professional critics who had seen all 4 of the first episodes early talked about this one like it was the worst of the bunch and like it's where everything sort of petered off, but having now seen it, I gotta say that I really do not get that perspective at all. I can see being thrown off maybe by the incredibly goofy, incredibly low-stakes conflict of this episode as compared to the other 3, but personally, I think it was the most consistently funny one that we've gotten so far. And that's someone who didn't even get the initial dates pick up the check joke at first, because I'm not really someone who has a lot of time to go on dates myself. Anyway, I need the Madisynn and Wongers spin-off show now. Madisynn herself is a character archetype that I should find interminably annoying, but for whatever reason I find her rampant Sopranos spoilers and eternally drunken Valley Girl shtick to be nothing but charming. For as much of a heightened caricature as she is, she's ultimately just another one of those normals who helps the MCU feel like a more natural, lived-in setting. I also continue to be enamored with Jen's homicidally protective dad. I'm not as entertained by Donny Blaze, the ostensible antagonist of this episode. Frankly, nobody is beating Oryoko Chono as far as the washed-up stage magician archetype goes. That said, I do like Wong's case against him conceptually, and at the very least, the actor playing him is having a heck of a good time. As for our title character, this episode is yet another small step in a very interesting direction. Albeit also a very sad one. Namely, I like how meticulously we continue to chip away at Jen's self-worth. Both of this episode's plots reinforce the idea that it's She-Hulk who can live the life that Jennifer really wants, both professionally and romantically, while the real Jen is stuck being her own also-ran. It's definitely a button that the show pushes often enough for me to wonder about these videos becoming repetitive, but in the context of the show, it's a fascinating psychological dynamic that I'm glad is getting this much time to breathe and play out gradually. And I like how we ended this episode with the promise of shaking up that dynamic even further come next week, with the cliffhanger ending that Titania is suing Jen for legal rights to the name She-Hulk. Like, of course Jen was eventually going to have to literally embrace the identity that she's been rejecting the whole show in a legal context, on top of the fact that she's only ever appreciated or successful in any given setting as She-Hulk. Jen has gone from struggling to accept that her Hulk is even a part of herself, to being forced to face the idea that maybe She-Hulk is the only part of her that actually holds any worth. Like I said, it's just as sad as it is funny, and if this show ever does want to do a full-on dramatic pathos scene, then it's got a heck of a powder keg to work with. Even as far as her job goes, Jen is only able to win her case this episode because of She-Hulk's pure brawn, and not because of any legal skills on her own part. It's one of those fun things that makes this premise so unique next to other legal comedies, but at the same time underlines how inherently kind of tragic this character is in her current state. It's just something I find really interesting. Across the whole show so far, this is definitely the most excited that I've been leaving an episode. But why don't you tell me what you think? Did you like the episode? Did you like this video? How distracting was it to have me be sideways the whole time? Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the future.